10-point program of popular republicanism. Emperor Tankie, June 14. Marxism-Leninism, the science of humanity, starts as national in form. All nations must adapt Marxism-Leninism to their unique, material conditions. China has done it with socialism with Chinese characteristics, North Korea with Juche, and so on and so forth. The land we inhabit, our country, the United States of America, must adopt a socialism with American characteristics. To do this we adopt the name of popular republicanism. This name honors the great tradition of American republicanism from thinkers and leaders such as Thomas Paine, Abraham Lincoln, and later carried on by the Communist movement and party. It also alludes to the radical Republicans, such as John Fremont, John Jay, Ulysses Grant, and later Abraham Lincoln, who fought for the complete emancipation of the slaves in the 1860s. This writing will provide a popular republicanist program which can be adopted by a popular front to advance the cause of the American proletariat and the cause of Marxism-Leninism. I prefer peace. But if trouble must come, let it come in my time, so that my children can live in peace. Thomas Paine. Point 1. Land reform. The land of the United States, which has been stripped away from the people, must be returned to them. A popular campaign of land reform must be enacted. Large plots will be given back to those who toil it, and the remaining land placed in the hands of the people's government to be used accordingly. Point 2. End imperialism. The monopoly stage of capitalism, imperialism, must be ended at all costs. To achieve this, the US must withdraw its military from all foreign countries, end its foreign wars, leave the NATO alliance, and end its exploitation of foreign markets and resources. Point 3. Cultural renaissance. The culture of America in recent decades has been destroyed and perverted. To correct this, the state must promote a cultural renaissance in all forms. Art, music, film, writing, architecture, all will enter new, revolutionary designs which best represent a distinct, American identity. Artists in all forms will be given the opportunity to try to capture this spirit. Point 4. Nationalization. To unleash the productive forces, pursue mass economic growth, and to end exploitation, the banks, factories, shipyards, corporations, land, natural resources and all large-scale industries must be placed in the hands of the people's government and will be planned accordingly. Point 5. Right to keep and bear arms. Since the founding of this country, American citizens have been guaranteed the right to keep and bear arms and form a well-regulated militia. This right was designed by the Founding Fathers so that the American people could, if needed be, defend themselves against tyranny. This right must not be infringed. Point 6. The role of the party. The Communist Party is the sole party that represents the interests of the American people. It must lead the Popular Front and the government. The party will adhere to the principles of Marxism-Leninism and will run the state according to the will of the people. Point 7. Economic Bill of Rights. To provide for the people of our country, we must establish an economic Bill of Rights to guarantee that all Americans can pursue life, liberty and happiness. This Bill of Rights must guarantee all Americans a right to health care, education, housing, a job, adequate income, and social security. Point 8. Mass infrastructure. The infrastructure of our country, which is vital to keep the country running, is crumbling around us. We are supposed to be the shining city on the hill, and our infrastructure must reflect that. The unemployed masses and those already employed must be hired by the state and trained to rebuild America's highways, roads, industry, and public services. Major projects such as the World Land Bridge are endorsed, and the US must join the Eurasian Belt and Road Initiative. Point 9. Rights of the people. All Americans are entitled to certain, God-given, unalienable rights that will not be infringed upon. These rights include the right to vote in party, local, state, and nationwide elections, workplace democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of religion. Point 10. Right to self-determination. national minorities within the United States that constitute their own nation are guaranteed the right to hold referendums to form their own autonomous republics, which shall be self-governed under the authority of the Communist Party. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles, and organizing its powers in such form, as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and, accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But, when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Workingmen of all countries, unite.